ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Back Row Banter, your favorite casual movie talk podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Schwartz, and on today's episode in the news, we'll talk about Henry Cavill, the big Superman news that's been being talked about quite a bit. No trailer talk. We'll get to what we're watching, and then our main review for the episode is a little indie film you might have heard of. They've spent a little short amount of time making it. It's called Avatar: The Way of Water. I don't know if you saw the first one; came out a long time ago. It's been a while. But we're back, so yeah. I figured some people, one or two people might want to hear about it, so we figured we'd review it for everybody, and as you do with these small indie films, right, Nathaniel?
That's right.
Yeah. But before we get to any of that, I'm joined today, of course, by Navi Nathaniel Gingrich.
What up, folks? I'm Navi Nathaniel.
Navi.
I spend most of my time out wandering the hills in my blue form.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have an avatar. It's just
you painted in blue paint.
correct.
Okay.
Speaking of which, what is your favorite Avatar The Way of the Water spin-off title that you've created for yourself? So like I've decided on Avatar 2, Too Wet, Too Blue. What would be your Avatar sequel title for your of choice?
I haven't really considered one, so I don't know if I have one off the top of my head. The only thing that comes to mind is Avatar Blue Bayou.
Okay.
Like the movie we were going to review that one time.
I don't mind that.
Yeah. Because they're kind of in a lagoon. That little village is in a bit of
Well,
a
you could do
low
Avatar
line
the Blue Lagoon, which
The
is
Blue
just
Lagoon? I like that. Yeah, let's just do that.
That is kind of children Avatar.
Yeah.
First weird sexual experience. Have you ever seen that movie? I've never seen that movie. I just feel
No.
like it's
I've
about
heard it, yeah.
children and nudity, and I'm kind of like terrified of it now.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. Also joining us today, it's Tolkien Tyler Vidalis. Or Tolkien?
I think it's Tolkien.
Tolkien Ty.
What was I gonna say? Are you trying to say toucan, Tolkien? Like, what are you trying to say?
Tolkien. Sorry, I'm practicing my Navi. I'm still catching up.
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you asked, but I am.
I didn't, but it was coming anyway, so
Yeah.
you beat me to it. How's the wedding planning going?
It's going.
It's going.
Yeah.
When is your date again? You brought it up before. You're September, right?
No, August.
August of 23?
Yeah.
Damn.
2025.
Coming up, man.
Putting it out there.
2025.
It's coming up.
What? That's less than 9 months.
I think it is like 9 months.
Yeah,
It'll be here before you know it, man.
it usually is.
Please don't say that. Like, there's still like so much to do and like not enough.
Yeah.
Not
And
enough
then there's
time.
also like not a lot to do. It's a really weird feeling.
Yeah. You'll get it done. One day at a time. I'm sure Carolia just like won't let it happen to like fall through. Like she'll get it done, and she'll make you do it. Rounding out the
No,
squad.
we're pretty good about sharing
Yeah,
the responsibilities.
good. Rounding out the squadron, of course. It's Big Blue BlakeHolder.
What's going on, fellas? I'm over here trying to get a dub on MK.
Oh, did we catch you? Did we catch you mid MK game?
No. It's actually the first time I played in about a month and a half. So I was
Okay.
expecting
You're
to get on
rusty.
here.
Yeah, you're rusty. You
Yeah.
got to warm up a little bit. I know how that is. Yeah. I get on Halo. I shoot some bots.
Yeah, man. You
Yeah.
know, but yeah, all is good. So how you liking being back home? I know it was your first week back home.
Yeah, dude, it was a trip because I had finals all of last week, which I didn't have any final like exams or anything, but I had like 3 papers due last week, and then 2 projects. So I was just grinding to get those done. Well, I was planning on going home Friday because I thought I had to work Saturday. Turns out I didn't have to work Saturday, so I was like, oh, woke up Friday with like nothing packed, and I was like, I still had to finish my project, which was already late at that point. So I was like, I'm just gonna stay Friday, work on my project, and I'll leave Saturday packed and ready to go. And then I still didn't finish my project, even with working on it all day Friday. So finished that. Ended up finishing that Sunday night or Saturday night, but packed up Saturday, drove all the way back, sprinted home basically to get to Nathaniel's birthday bash at the AMC theater. So I got home at like 6, threw all the stuff from my car inside, and then just got right back in the car and headed to the restaurant we were at. So.
Right.
Busy.
Which I guess we didn't touch on. Yeah, we all went to.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, we had a little I don't know, get together, but like it expanded beyond the back row crew,
It's true. It was a back row expedition.
featuring Nathaniel's closest and most trusted friends,
Collaborators. Yeah.
colleagues, associates,
True.
all of the above.
Esteemed colleagues.
Esteemed colleagues. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was fun. We went and saw the Fabelmans,
This is true.
which we've decided we're reviewing for next week.
I don't see why not.
So we'll do that. Fabelmans now in theaters. It was good. We'll talk about it next week, and we'll talk about more of that later.
Bit of sizzle.
But yeah, it's good being back home. To answer your question the longest way I possibly could have, it's good being back. I'll be back for about a month, so that means 4 eps of me on the mixer and not over Discord.
On the mixer.
Do like a little voice changer thing for me, please.
On the mixer. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for not pulling the chair out from under me, by the way. That was
I got
very
you.
kind of you to do.
Mhm.
I was watching to make sure it was still on. I spotted it this time,
Well, you know,
but I'm sure it'll come back to bite me at a different point.
we have all got, new toys,
Yeah,
as we determined last week.
we did determine that last week. Let's get into the ep here, guys. We do have a small bit of news that we want to talk about because I feel like a lot of people are talking about it. Henry Cavill, less than like 2 months after announcing he's back as Superman, has announced that he's actually not back as Superman. He pulled a little fake out. Basically, it's surrounding the whole thing with James Gunn coming in and taking over DC's properties and kind of being, as far as I can tell, the Kevin Feige of DC, since he's kind of doing that takeover and kind of planning out their movies. I guess they just want to cut all ties with all of the previous DC stuff, which is somewhat of a shame because I think Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot, I think they are great in their roles as Superman and Wonder Woman. And like, I understand why they kind of just want to move on from them because it'd be
Sure.
hard for most audiences that don't keep up with this kind of stuff. It'd be hard for us to get another like Man of Steel origin story for Henry Cavill Superman when we already had one.
Right. Where do you go with a
Where-
character
yeah.
at this point?
Where do you go with a character that's already been established if you're trying to restart him?
Of course.
And then it's just it's messy. It's a messy situation at DC, and I totally understand what James Gunn is doing, which is fresh start, reboot. Let's just move on and pretend this last 10 years didn't exist. Which is good. I think that's the direction they need to go. It's just a shame that Henry Cavill and Gal were caught in the.
Well, you can see the potential, right?
Oh yeah,
Of all of them, really.
Mhm.
And that goes even to Aquaman or Jason Momoa,
And
Aquaman,
Ben Affleck as
as
Batfleck,
Batman. Yeah. It seems to be less said about Ezra Miller, the better. But anyways, it is just kind of a bummer overall, but you do understand
Yeah.
why it's happening. And let's be honest, the door's not closed. Like,
No,
we could get
no.
3 or 4 years into this, and then you could still bring Henry back as either, a Jor-El stand-in or Superman from another dimension.
Or
Multiverses
multiverse.
are a thing. They're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Mhm.
So, just let them get out there and get back on track first. The funniest thing of this, I think, is like it's really just The Rock kind of just burning his social capital, I feel like,
Yeah.
on this one move. of like, you know, I'm Black Adam, I'm gonna pull Henry back in, we're gonna do this, and then, you know, 3 weeks later they're like, yeah, no,
Yeah.
actually.
See ya.
And even today, I think I saw he posted something as well as like, Black Adam will not be in the next phase for James Gunn and DC. So I think he's pretty done for a little bit as well. And I wonder if this hurts him a little, his star power.
I don't.
Might hurt his ego.
I think it might hurt a little bit. His ego a little bit. I don't know how much it'll do for his actual like star power in general. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think most of the public really knows that he was pulling so hard for Superman to come back like that.
Okay.
I think that's more of like you have to be paying attention to. You have to be someone like us who's paying attention.
we just know because we know.
We just know because we like knowing those things, whereas most people don't, unless you, of course, listen to this podcast, which thank you. And you're wise for listening to this podcast because we give you that such wise insider information. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think that much is going to result from him like pulling for Henry Cavill and putting so much into that and then that not paying off. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to find himself a role in Marvel now. If he wants like a
you think?
Yeah, I think if he's not going to be Black Adam, which I think is probably just the hero he wanted to be, and that's why he was trying to build
you're talking about The Rock. What,
The Rock,
I thought
sorry.
you meant Henry Cavill.
Oh, I would love to see Henry Cavill in Marvel. Holy shit, yes. Yeah, I would love to see him go that route. Because he's not doing Witcher anymore. It seems like he dropped Witcher to do Superman stuff, and now he's
Right.
not doing Superman stuff, which is also a shame. Kind of got burned on that. But, I mean, he's Henry Cavill. He'll find work.
I think I legitimately think
Who
I
would you
saw.
want him to play in the Marvel universe?
Ooh,
Well, there's a million
there's a
Superman-like
bajillion.
characters, which would be kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like a Hyperion or the Sentinel or a.
I'm gonna throw a curveball to you, Nathaniel.
Okay.
I know you were
Throw
a
me-
pitcher.
throw me this curveball.
I know you were a pitcher, but I'm
I'm
you're
excited
a batter
to see
this
your
time
off
around.
speed.
What if he plays the Thing? Fantastic Four is the Thing.
Mm-hmm.
CGI mocap suit.
Yeah, you're saying playing against type because he's a handsome man, and the Thing is just the
He's
ugliest
yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Not even blind people like him.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Sure.
not true. They got married.
Oh, is that what happened? I never made it past the first 45 minutes of that movie.
I don't know because I immediately went to Fantastic Four, but I don't think he really fits as
might be a good Doom.
he would be a good Doom. Oh, he'd be a great Doom. Yeah.
Dr. Doom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
yeah.
one
I
of
think
the,
I'll go
maybe
Doom.
one of the X-Men.
I think I'll go Doom.
Yeah,
He
Doom's
could be a
good.
good Magneto too.
He would be great Magneto. It depends on how they decide to play the Magneto Professor X angle.
I just want someone that's big like a fridge in the comics.
Sure.
I want a
Sure.
fridge man
Sure.
to be Henry Cavill because
he's
a fridge man.
You think he's a fridge man?
I think he's big like a fridge. He strikes
He's
me as
big. He's like, but he's not like Dave Bautista big.
No. But Dave Bautista, he's more bouldery.
Okay.
So
A massive frame.
yeah, he's a
Okay.
bouldery man where Henry
But
Cavill's a fridge man.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the
Ben
distinctions
Affleck
now.
also a fridge man.
Ben Affleck's a fridge man.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck seems like he's like the toaster oven. He's not really doing that much.
No, he's a
Affleck
fridge
will
man.
never die.
Okay.
Affleck's a fridge man. Cavill's a fridge man. Batista boulder.
Boulder.
The Rock also boulder.
Boulder.
I mean that makes sense.
All right, we need to start tearing these guys out on a certain app and just sort them out so we know.
Hemsworth, kind of an in between.
Kind of. Oh God. Okay.
I mean, he's bigger than a fridge, but he's leaner than a boulder.
Gotcha.
So, maybe a vending machine or a professional era fridge, like a Viking.
I would, but long story short, long tangent short, I would love to see Henry Cavill in Marvel, and I'd love to see who else were we talking about that I want to see? The Rock. I'd love to see both of them in Marvel. That's the other big news. I forgot to find a news story for this. They're cutting back their plans. Marvel's cutting back. They're slowing down.
Not shocking.
No, very good news. Blake, did you hear that?
No, I did not, but that might be the best thing I've heard all week.
Yeah, they're slowing down and rethinking their entire phase. What is this? Phase 4 and 5?
We
No,
are.
5 and
Whoever
6.
pushed that agenda needs a raise.
We just finished 4.
We're into 5.
So we're into 5. They're rethinking their entire phase 5 and 6 agenda, which is great because looking at that made me want to like just pull my hair out.
I just want Blade.
I also just want.
I want Blade, and
Yeah,
I
I
want
want Blade.
good Blade.
I want Henry Cavill's Blade. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think that works. I don't think
What,
that
he
works
can't,
at all.
He can't do blackface in the year 2022. What?
Yeah, right.
No.
That's like if they
That'd
made
be bad.
Tropic Thunder
That'd be
now,
bad.
they would.
Yeah.
Those guys would be at the altar.
Original Blade was British, so I guess it's kind of one for the other. If you
Was
want
he
to make
British
that
black?
argument, he is British and black. Yeah, so you would need a Leon Edwards, who's a UFC fighter and not an actor. But I couldn't think of a. You would need more of an Idris Elba, I suppose.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I still want Mahershala Ali as Blade. That wasn't me saying I don't want him. I do. I love that man.
Is he British?
No, I don't believe so.
He's just American.
I don't
or-
believe so, but he could be.
I guess yeah. His neutral accent. I always couldn't remember if it's British or American.
Yeah, I'm glad Marvel's rethinking that stuff. They need to slow it down. Because I was talking to a buddy about it. I forgot who, but we were just talking about how like
This
back
Mr.
in the
Man.
day, Noah 6400, whatever. Back in the day, it was just like you looked forward to all these Marvel movies so much because they were so few and far between. Like you would have in the anticipation of the buildup. Like I remember for Age of Ultron, like that trailer dropped like 9 months before the movie even came out, and I just was like that trailer made me so excited for
Yeah.
it, and then you had to wait 9 months and stuff. But it's like when I have a Marvel movie and a new one every 3 months, and then a TV show in between, it's just I don't care. Like
Well, the unfortunate thing about Age of Ultron was the trailer was the best thing about it.
yes, yes.
But the trailer was at least better than the movie.
I was just using that as an example, but I feel
No,
like
I don't disagree with your point. I just I don't see that happening at this stage. You know, I think Marvel, as we kind of talked about, I think a few weeks ago, is almost a genre, a production of it in and of itself now. You know, and in tying it into what we're talking about this week, these original IP, these avatars, these glass onions, these these one-off movies or these kind of big budget, high concept movies, I think is what we're going to be getting besides Marvel movies now. I think you may start seeing the independent movies going to streaming and continue to be these kind of movies that are more accessible to the quote unquote common man for a cheaper price. You know, your A24 films of the world, or your 9 Days, or your Green Knights of the world, and the only movies that will be theater movies will be the Avatar 2s, the Marvel movies, the Star Wars movies, the DC movies, along with, the occasional Denny V joint or Christopher Nolan film or something like that, and it may end up being that you only go to 4 or 5 movies a year, unless you're like us and you're a lunatic with A-list, which is still the most valuable membership out there.
yeah.
Not an ad. Hashtag. But am I wrong? I that's the way that
A-list?
I see this kind of that overall tangent. That's the way I see this moving.
No,
maybe.
I very very well could. I very well could. I don't. I remember not too long ago you saying how you think movie theaters will one day become a thing as special as like going to a theater play.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. I do still think that's where
Yeah.
we'll go eventually.
I think I don't know if they'll get quite to that level of like rarity where like I feel like you only see, besides like local productions, like you have the Metropolis in downtown Arlington Heights, like theaters like that. Whereas like you have to, for other big productions, you have to go to Chicago. Like,
Sure.
You have to go downtown. I don't think it'll be quite that like remote.
Well,
quite
no,
that
obviously
rare.
movie theaters are just
But
more prevalent
yes,
in general.
Yeah, I think those will eventually slowly devolve into things that are not as much not as like common as far as like, oh, let's just go to the movies. It's more of an event.
Which will maybe, you know, open the door for more independent things or more independent movie theaters where you could just go and see, you know, maybe not necessarily the most recent new thing, but just an edition of Empire Strikes Back on the big screen or something like that, you know, or Alien, the original, or Terminator 2 on the big screen, you know, rather than just your 65-inch television or your laptop screen at home.
Yeah. We'll see. It all remains TBD on that front. But yeah, Henry Cavill's no longer Superman.
Yeah. In other news, Henry Cavill no longer Superman, no longer The Witcher,
No longer The Witcher.
all alone,
Soon to be a fridge.
soon to be a fridge man.
Let's get into what we're watching. Nathaniel,
Mm.
what have you been watching, my man?
Well, that's an interesting question there, Adam. I'll tell you. I have been watching a few things.
Okay. Tell me about it.
Well, I watched as the aforementioned Fabelmans. As we did go see it all in the
Yes.
theaters.
We all enjoyed, I think. I think we all left that theater pretty happy.
Yeah, a bit of sizzle. We were all pretty positive on it. I mean,
We'll talk more, but
we not to give too much away and pull too far from the curtain, but you and Blake did see the full movie.
we did.
Whereas Tyler and I, we could, based on the first 5 minutes, may hate it. Our whole opinion could change.
Yeah, I think there was a lot. The opening shot of him going to the movie theater for the first time really could have made or break the movie for you. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have valid opinions on the movie.
Mm.
Yeah, you guys missed a whole train sequence.
Okay.
Where he watches a train
Mm-hmm.
run over a car in
I
the theater.
think that's all they really missed.
Yeah, that's all I missed.
Okay.
That was about it.
Other than that, I did obviously to Avatar 2, Too Wet, Too Blue.
The Bayou.
Yep.
The Blue Lagoon.
And we'll be talking about that more in a
Yes.
bit here. But you know, peek behind the curtain, bit of sizzle. I can watch, you know, another 5, 6 of these. Just
Yes.
you know, every 2 years, just throw
Yes.
one of these in theaters, and I'm
You know
in.
how we always say new IP? No. If this is what I get, I'm okay with this being what I watch for the rest of my time.
It's just a tech demo, really, but I don't care. Like, I just
Really,
kind of.
I mean, let's save it for the review. But yeah, you're not too far off.
Anyways, sorry. Yeah,
No, you're good.
I'm being facetious, but anyways, what else did I get up to? I watched, inspired a bit by, you know, I was scrolling through my various and sundry streaming apps the other day,
Of course.
and I thought to myself, I said, "Self, what would Adam Schwartz do right now? What would
What would I put on?
little Adam Schwartz?"
Yes.
And I thought, you know, he's been in his documentary phase.
It's been a huge ass phase. Man. Yeah.
His documentary.
My swing.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. Documentary swing.
Documentary swing. I
And
like it.
I thought, Self, what's a documentary I remember hearing about, remember being significant, but never actually watching? And so I found one. It was on HBO Max, and I do remember it coming out at the time, but not really knowing anything about it. But it's called The Ghosts of Abu Ghraib. Has anyone else heard of this? It's basically
No,
the
not ringing the bell.
story of how they found out what was happening at the Abu Ghraib prison in Afghanistan, and how the United States is more or less just condoning and using torture on prisoners.
Who's surprised? Nada.
And it wasn't great. But you know, what was really crazy was just the access to who they got, where they got the legitimate people that were at the prison doing the torturing and some of the events that were depicted in the film as well too. And you know, it was that question of, okay, what am I watching? What is the story? Who's telling it? And what are they trying to say overall with it? And again, it is kind of one of those. I always find the format very interesting. The Talking Heads format, where it's just different experts that they bring in, and what are those experts, overall viewpoints, and maybe kind of what are they thinking they're contributing to the film and that
Sure.
kind of stuff, and then how it kind of ends up in the edit and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was very, very interesting, very kind of I think emblematic of a time, obviously, in America's history when we thought we might have been more okay with certain levels of get it doneness, or of I want answers, I want results, I'm not afraid of what happens.
That
kind of
decade from
things.
9/11 to the assassination of Osama bin Laden, like it was really like we don't care, like
Right.
there was a level of brevity people were willing to take, and there's a
But it's also fascinating to see in this particular case that attitude of results no matter what, and kind of how that is translated and what that means, in the day to day, and what the real, everyday kind of cost of that attitude is, and maybe what that overall means as a society, I guess, or as a culture. But yeah, it's very confronting, and it's definitely worth the watch, I would say. Overall, I think I can't remember, but I want to say it got nominated for Oscars or something like that. One of those HBO exclusives that always seem to end up on those documentary award seasons at the end of the year. But anyways, the other thing that I got to this week, and this will pretty much close me out, besides just like Critical Role and Nick Merckx and streaming and stuff like that, was The Sting with Paul Newman, Robert Redford. If you have not watched, it's about a couple of con men in 1930 Chicago trying to pull off a big con on the mafia member that killed a friend of theirs, and reunites Paul Newman, Robert Redford after this is post Butch Cassidy, Sundance Kid, and actually reunites them with their Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid director as well too. So
gotcha.
Great little film, just classic throwback. Overall, a great heist movie, and that'll clear off my list. Let's go to Tyler. What have you been watching, sir?
Not a ton, but there's really only been like two main things, because they've been either my daytime show or my nighttime show. So the first is I am continuing with Naruto because I'm a psychopath and I don't care what you think. But I am into Naruto Shippuden, and it's a fucking blast. I just love it. Still just a lot of things that like I have forgotten, and I'm like, as soon as I see him, it like flips back to when I originally watched. I'm like, oh my god. So
Of course.
still very fun. And then I also have been continuing with Will and Grace, which still pretty funny.
Okay.
Don't like it as much as Friends. And you can tell they're kind of going for like that same kind of like sitcom kind of humor. It's around the same timeline, so they're trying to compete a little bit, and you can tell. But it's just like not as funny, and there's like not a real story there. It's just like people being funny. But yeah, whatever. It's fine. It's cool. I like it. I'm not out on it, so.
Fair enough.
And then just some YouTubing, and all that is pretty much it as far as Fabelmans goes, which was just a fun little experience. So it was funny. I was telling Carolia because like my theater courtesies kicked in to where I'm like, ooh, we have to be quiet.
Sure, of
Can't
course.
do my phone. And then I'm like, wait, I know all these fucking people in
Right.
here.
Yeah.
Well, you yelled at me when you walked in because we and Blake were right in the front row, and I was still texting people. I think I was still trying to text Nathaniel
Yeah,
about what
of
was
course.
going on, and as you walked in, because I think you were one of the first people to do so, and you're like, "Get off your phone." And then I just turned my flashlight on.
It was much more professional. It was, sir, please go off your phone. You can't have that device in here.
Well, it was
I don't
even
know if it was all that.
it was even one of those things where, like, because you guys got there first and they'd scanned you in, we were all just kind of sitting up front, and it was just kind of like us sitting there with, the poor 16-year-old kid that's just taking the tickets behind the counter. And eventually I was just like,
Yeah.
bro, I rented the theater. Like, I'm going in. There's no one else that's going to be there in the theater for us. If you want to come in and check my receipt, you can, but later.
Yeah.
And and then we got in there, and it ended up being fine. But yeah, it was that kind of weird thing a couple times that Tyler's talking about of like, oh yeah, I do know everyone in this theater.
I forgot who, or I forgot what was said, and I don't know who, but someone shouted something out funny in the theater, and everyone kind of laughed during the middle of the movie.
I believe it was Matt. I can't remember exactly what we were talking about, but
yeah,
it was funny. Someone left mid move, or like with like 30 minutes left or something like that. I think he shouted out like "see you later" or something like that.
Sure. To go get food or go to the bathroom or something.
I don't remember. Yeah. I don't think the AMC people knew what was going on either. We got there and they were so perplexed by like what we were trying to tell them. I was like, we have this theater. We have a group coming later. What do we need to do to make this work out?
Right.
And they just were like, well, the movie's starting. The one guy at customer service or whatever, he was like, well, the movie, no, it starts at 7:45. It's previews right now. It'll probably start around 8:10. I was like, okay. Is this ticket good for everybody? Does everyone have their own ticket? He's like, no. That ticket's good for everybody. I was like, okay, so like we have more people coming. What should we be doing here?
Right.
He's like, well, and I'm like, well, and he's like,
just doesn't finish the sentence.
Yeah, he doesn't really know how to handle it because the ticket's already been scanned, and he's like, and I was just like, I'm just gonna grab them when they come, and then we'll all go in together. He's like, okay, but the movie starts at 8:10. I'm like, cool, we covered that part.
Oh, fair.
And so me and Blake just went to the theater, and it all worked out in the end. It was fun. It was fine. It was a good time. Was that it, Ty?
Yeah, that's it for me.
Cool.
And it was a good time.
Good. I guess I'll go.
Sorry. I was like, do I tell someone to go?
Yeah, that's how this works.
It's how we've done it for 129 episodes, but we can change it up.
Popcorn.
Hey, man,
Popcorn myself.
Sometimes the brain just works a little slower some days.
No, yeah, 100% does. 100%. Well, I've only really got to one thing besides the Fabelmans, but Nathaniel, I apologize.
That's okay.
Because I promised you, I swore to you, I took a blood oath and said I would watch Andor as the next show that I get to.
Of course, yeah.
And I broke said oath.
Oh, well.
And cursed myself.
You're dead.
I am dead.
Sorry.
Will die.
Oath breaker.
Yeah, I am the oath breaker. But it's for a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because are you familiar with the series Last Chance U on Netflix? Or Blake, are you familiar? I think you may have.
Great series. I watched the first maybe 3 seasons. They had some gems on there. And then I haven't gone back.
So they have the football series. If you're not familiar with the show, it's called Last Chance U. It's on Netflix. It's one of their documentary series they've been doing for a while now. It's pretty successful. But essentially they follow like JUCO, junior college sports teams. They started with football. So a junior college football team. A lot of college athletes at the junior college level are just people who probably could play D1 or D2. Or honestly, they could play at a university that's not like a community junior college or whatever. But for whatever reason, grades, financials, just they fell through the cracks. Essentially, is how they kind of describe it. For one reason or another, and they go to the junior college level to play as their like last chance to get a scholarship somewhere. Because if they can't get a scholarship at university, chances are they're not going to the league, whatever league that is, because they have the NFL or they have the college one, and obviously that's the NFL trying to get a scholarship to go to like a D1 school, whatever it is. But they also have a basketball series, which I've only watched a few episodes of the football.
Yeah, that's new. I think that started
is.
Maybe season 4 or something.
It is, yeah. So they have like 4 seasons of their football one, which started around 2016 or 2017, and it's good. I've watched a few episodes of it, but I never finished it because I just wasn't all in on it. But the basketball one, I saw that they made a basketball one a couple years back, probably 2019, or actually, no, I take that back. It was when did they release that? It would have been
The first basketball one?
yeah, it would have been
Probably 2020.
2021,
Yeah, I
early
think 2020.
2021 because or like very late 2020 because what happened was actually I don't want to spoil the first season. Anyway, they released a basketball version of this where it's like same situation, college kids who I'm watching the show. I'm like, shit, these kids are my age. This sucks. But college kids who didn't make D1, weren't supposed to do whatever, and some of them are like top prospects out of high school, like making top 100, going to these universities that are almost guaranteeing them scholarships and stuff. And again, a lot of the times it's grades or whatever, or just recruitment falls through, something like that. And the first season was great, and they just released their second season, and I've been waiting for it for a while because I loved the first one so much. And so this second season came out. I've already finished the whole thing, all 8 episodes in like less than a week. Just because of that, it's that good. And it's weird watching it now because of my documentary class. I'm watching every documentary from here on out so much differently, and I'm watching this one so much differently. Like they edit in. It's just interesting watching the choices they make because they edit in like a redemption arc for this one kid who like the first like 3 or 4 episodes, he's not getting a lot of playing time. All he's doing is bitching and complaining, and he's saying the most, egotistical stuff ever. And you like clearly is supposed to not like this kid. And I'm watching this and I'm going, okay, these are very intentional choices to include this stuff. Why are they including it? They're for sure building him up as a villain so that they can like redeem him later. And sure enough, like episode 5 or 6, oh no, the team's not doing well. Or this is like episode 4, but whatever. The team's not doing well. What are we gonna do? Let's try something different. Let's put this kid in, and he saves the team.
And he's an all-star.
And he's an all-star. He's going D1. He's going to the league. It's all that stuff. So it's interesting watching it now, but. Last Chance U basketball, I think, is so much better than the few episodes of the football one I watched. I haven't seen all of it, so I can't speak to it that much, but the basketball one's great. Really, really enjoy it. And highly recommend anyone check out. And they just, I don't know, to me, it was like the highlights from the basketball series because they have like 6 cameras all over the court for all of these games. Just like watching the highlights, like they make it's so much more entertaining than watching like the football one where it's like they can only really watch from the sideline because you get so much closer to the action and to and they get so much better audio from the players on the court and stuff. I don't know. To me, it was just much more entertaining. So Blake, I know you're not the biggest basketball guy, definitely a football guy more so, but I think you'd still enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I watch a decent amount of basketball. College basketball is tough for me.
Yeah.
I think I was telling you, but yeah, I am a fan of Last Chance U, where the first 3 seasons of that were pretty good. The first 2, I think, were awesome. But yeah, I mean, I haven't got around to doing any of the basketball seasons yet, but it's something I probably should at least try to put on the dock and get to because it is interesting to see people at that level in junior college playing sports. You get people from like some crazy backgrounds, man. You know what I mean? Like some people sleep in their car every day or in their homeless and things of that nature. So it's very interesting.
There's one clip in the second season where like they're having to get COVID tested and stuff, and like half the team tested positive one day. Or like more than half the team. And so like they're all kind of standing around. They had a game that day. And so like this one kid's like, that's all his plan was to do. Like he didn't have anywhere to go. So he's kind of just standing around. He's asking his team. He's like, yo, like, what are you guys doing? Like, I don't have a ride. I don't have anywhere to go. And they're like, shit. Like,
right.
You guys, this one guy's like, I guess you can come to my place. It's like that kind of thing. It's like wild backgrounds. And like these kids are really, really talented. But like for one reason or another, they're just not making it happen. And like, that's why obviously it's called Last Chance U. It's like, if they don't have it, if it doesn't happen now, they're not going to get a chance to kind of keep playing and make it a career.
For sure.
Yeah, that's all I got to. So, Blake, I think you're last one here.
Yeah, I'll go ahead clean it up. I didn't get to much, to be honest. As we all mentioned, went to Nathaniel's birthday extravaganza this past weekend, so I saw the Fabelman with the squad on that one. Went into that pretty blind. I mean, I guess I asked Nathaniel about, but didn't watch any trailers, didn't really know the cast, anything of that nature. So that was cool. Didn't realize Seth Rogen was though, to be honest with you.
Neither did I.
Yeah,
so that was actually really funny. We're like, I forgot his first line, but you hear his line before you see him. And then I'm like, oh my God, is that Seth Rogen? And then he comes on screen. I was like, oh, of course it is. So that was kind of funny to see that. And then caught Avatar the next day. So within 2 days, I mean, I spent 6+ hours in the theater.
I felt very similar in that same thing.
Yeah, so I went to the Avatar. That was Sunday. I think I might have went to 11:30 show out here.
11:30, you said?
Yeah, 11:30 a.m.
Okay.
11:30 a.m. So yeah, I caught that in IMAX 3D. So yeah, but yeah, it was cool. But that's all I've got. Outside of that, ton of YouTube. That's it. That's it.
Alrighty.
Cool. Well, we can just cruise right on into the main review then. Welcome, listeners, to the main review segment here at Back Row Banter. Nathaniel, if the listener here is new, maybe they've just forgotten. Can you give them a rundown of how the review segment works?
Oh man, I'm not prepared for the first time in a long time. I don't have like my phone right in front of me here. Everything, but if
You want me to do it?
No. I can. Let's do it off the top
Off the
of
dome?
head.
All right.
Yeah, see if I can remember.
A bit of a freestyle.
Yeah, if you're a new listener, perhaps you've just forgotten. Our main review segment here at Back Row Banter is split into two sections. There is the non-spoiler section, and then there's the spoiler section. It's pretty self-explanatory. In the non-spoiler section, we'll go over, the movie's IMDb page, who was in it, who wrote it, who starred in it, all that good stuff, who directed it. We'll go around the quadrant, and we'll decide if we recommend this movie. It has to be a yes or no. There is no nuance on the internet. And from then on, it'll be spoiler time. If you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, go ahead and check out at this time where we're going to go into our deeper thoughts about the movie itself, any big spoiler or plot, twists in and of the movie itself. And even if you don't want to have it spoiled for you, though, do come back and see where it ranks up on our Entropy list, which is our big list of everything we have watched on the podcast so far, ranked. With that being said, Adam, tell me about Avatar: The Way of Water.
You mean Blue Boogaloo?
Is that, Avatar 2, Blue Boogaloo? Blue
Yeah.
Boogaloo. That's a lot of blues.
That's I would love to, Nathaniel. This is a new movie, of course. We waited 13 years for it, but it's here. Rated PG-13 with a runtime of 3 hours and 12 minutes. And an IMDb rating of 8.1 out of 10. Directed and written, of course, by James Cameron. The screenplay is also included with Rick Jaffa, or maybe Jaffa? Who knows? And Amanda Silver. Starring, man, I don't know where I'm going to stop this list, so I'm just gonna kind of go here because there's so many characters. Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Sigourney Weaver, Stephen Lang, Kate Winslet, Cliff Curtis, Joel David Moore, CC Pounder. I almost want to stop there just because if I don't, then I kind of keep going. Trinity Jolie Bliss is Took. That's another main. Britton Dalton. I don't know. There's so many characters, dude. Yeah, I think I'm good there too. All right. The IMDb summary reads as follows: Jake Sully lives with his newfound family formed on the extrasolar moon Pandora. Once a familiar threat returns to finish what they previously started, Jake must work with Neytiri and the army of the Na'vi race to protect their home. What the no? Bro, they were so good. They were good up until that last like half
Till
of the
the end.
sentence. Yeah, man, come on. I mean, they're not like wrong. These suck. And I don't know, these are like user generated. So like they're fan reviews that then IMDb selects to be the main review on the page.
Right.
I just need to talk to who selects them. I need to know who's like, that's the best review we have. Because whoever's selecting them could probably, if they've seen the movie, could probably write a better summary than that. Just hire me. That's actually what I'm saying.
Fair
Long
enough.
story short.
Long
right.
story short, just hire me. Like for the Jesus Christ. Anyway, 13 years. We waited. Was it worth it? My vote, yes.
Controversial pick.
Is it?
Not really. I don't.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think everyone likes this movie. Everyone's saying it's great. I think it's great. I had a lot of fun with it, and as we said earlier, I want more. I wanted so much more. Like 3 hours and 12 minutes. Yeah, we kind of rolled our eyes a little bit, and yeah, in the theater, I'm sitting there. I'm like, wow, I've been here a long time. But then I'm as I think that in the theater, I'm like, wow, I really don't want this movie to end. Like at the same time, I'm like, I could just keep going. Like, let me just, let's just do a day in the life of the Na'vi.
Yeah, it's a weird one, right?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I feel necessary to preface this with saying, friend of the pod, Brandon Wozni.
Yes, that is his name.
Not a fan.
Oh, you're kidding.
Overall, yeah, he and it was partly visual, which is something I do want to bring up. So I saw this at the Dolby
3D.
Dolby 3D,
Which
yes.
is where I saw it. I think I know what you're going to bring up.
So there was definitely the high frame rate.
Yes.
Which was in some scenes still noticeable.
Can you explain that for someone who doesn't really understand?
Yeah, so if you don't know what we're talking about, a typical movie is shot in 24 frames per second.
Yeah.
Which is
most movies you see in theater.
Yep.
Hollywood movies, 24 frames a second.
99% of movies that you are going to see are going to always use 24 frames per second.
I only know of one other movie that isn't 24 frames, and it's that Will Smith movie that came out a couple years ago.
Gemini Man.
Yeah.
It was that. There was a couple The Hobbit movies.
Oh, were they?
Yeah,
Okay.
when the original one was in 48, I want to say at certain points as well, too.
Gotcha.
But it is an idea that has been around for a while that if you do want to have more accurate or more, smoother imagery and everything, you would adjust the frame rate of the image itself based on whatever shot is happening. And it's really an idea that's been around for a long time, but no one has really just done it because it's kind of a massive undertaking and each scene would have to be done by hand. And James Cameron decided to do that.
Yeah.
And it, for the most part, I think pays off. There are a couple of things that it doesn't.
Yeah.
And I don't know necessarily if it's just because our eyes and our minds have been trained to say when certain actions happen, well, that's how that looks.
Yeah.
Or if it is really a quote unquote failure in the technology or in the setup or something, or if it, maybe just kind of enters into one of those uncanny valley moments kind of thing where it's not quite up to snuff to some kind of arbitrary standard that we don't quite understand either.
I propose a third option. I think it's the fact that it goes between frame rates.
Okay. You just
Like,
think the fact that it does change.
It changes. And I saw it in 3D and I think it won't hit me as bad in 2D.
I do think the 3D does add a certain another layer of disconnect to it as well too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. There was a couple moments, and that was one thing that Woz also mentioned during it was like, I wonder, seeing this in 2D afterwards, or if I had seen this in 2D, if I would give this kind of more of a pass. But my answer to that at that point is, well, the thing's shot in 3D.
Yeah.
So that is kind of quote unquote the ideal to see it in. So
no, it is, and it's just I liked the high frame rate. The things that were shot in the high frame rate, I enjoyed.
Sure.
It was just when you're cutting between shots and you're cutting between cameras, like sometimes it was like one scene shot in two different frame rates. And and going back and forth between them, it was just like, oh, this is really smooth, and like, oh my god, what is happening? Like, and I think the 3D definitely plays into part of that because it's just like it's a lot more kind of harder. It's just your brain's processing a lot more in 3D than it is on a 2D screen. So like, I think that's part of what makes it so jarring for me. But like when it switches to 24 frames, sometimes I'm just like, what is happening? Like, that looks disgusting. And I think it's just because you have these shots that look very smooth and very clean and pristine with that 64 frames because you get 60 frames because you get such a smoother picture, which definitely doesn't look as cinematic, but I still think works for this kind of movie.
Yeah, the biggest criticism or joke or line I've seen online has been it looks like a video game cutscene.
It does.
Or there's cutscene-esque moments in it, and
that's what I was thinking the whole time watching it.
And there was definitely that was a weird. Went a little Wayne there. Hey yo, how you darn? Yeah, there was a few times where I was just kind of. It did approach the cutscene curtain. We'll call it, or the Uncanny Valley cutscene curtain.
Yeah.
But I didn't really care.
I didn't either.
Like
I loved it.
There's a certain part of me that gives it a bit of a pass. I feel like, particularly just because I think it is that you kind of sit back and go, well, the fucking sack on James Cameron to
Right.
just actually go for it,
Right.
you know? So you kind of give a little bit more forgiving. And again, it's this kind of thing of like, yeah, I'll watch one of these every 2 years. I don't really give a shit on
100%.
on the, you know, I don't need this
I
heavily
agree.
involved story and characters or whatever. I like this
Absolutely.
looks so crazy
Yeah.
and is so good at getting me
It's so-
involved in the
Oh my
storyline
God, you're
and
right.
just what is happening on screen
Yeah.
that I forget where I am for a couple hours, and that's really
Yeah.
all I need.
No,
Like
1,000%.
Exactly. I agree with you on that. I mean, just the world building on this is like we go back, right? This is 15, 16 years in the making. And it was one of those films where it's like as soon as I sat down and it started and then you're just like brought back into the world, I was like, you know what? I can sit here for 3 hours and
Yeah.
watch this just because
Yeah.
it's so aesthetically pleasing. There's nothing out there that looks like this.
And
You said the same thing in 2009, 15 years ago. It was ahead of
Mhm.
its time. And now, I mean, I don't think it's that far ahead of its time, obviously, with where CGI and stuff is gone. But I mean, there's some things in this where you're looking at it and there's some scenes and lighting. It's just like, how the fuck is that not real? Well, obviously,
Yeah.
you're aware that
Right.
it's not real. You
Right,
know what I
right.
mean? But yeah, it's
crazy.
It's such a good film to the eye, and I think that's why most people would be like, you know what, I can sit down for 3.5 hours or whatever James Cameron wants to put as a time every 2, 3, 4 years on this with the family, and you're good. Everyone likes it. It appeals to all audiences.
And it truly
There's
is
really
one.
not much more.
It truly is one of those ones where like I don't know if I'll buy the physical copy of this
I
or
think I
even
might.
even a digital copy, but like
I think I would.
again, like it kind of like to put it in perspective, it kind of moves it into that space that I was talking about earlier, where like it's the theater now.
Mhm.
Like I will go watch
Sure.
this as an experience
Because
that
I plan
might
on seeing
only
this
see
again.
it once, yeah, or that I might only see once or twice, you know, or something.
Yeah, like how,
that.
like
I already know when I'm seeing this again.
yeah,
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, like it might just, this might be the first one of those that is just kind of like, I don't need to have a physical copy of it. It is more about the physical experience of going and seeing this on a big screen in the best version I can.
Yeah.
And the fact that I know every time a new one of these comes out, it's going to be
an experience.
bleeding edge special effects and bleeding
Mhm.
edge noticeable. Holy crap, how did they do that?
Yeah,
Kind of, you know, an experience overall. And that's worth the price of admission. And that's
1,000%.
that's something that has been missing from movies for a while now.
Yeah.
You know, for a little bit, that drive, that promise, you know, that kind of that thing, it's coming at a very nice time in kind of culture and in pop culture at large of, yeah, everyone's a little bit sick of the Marvel formula right now. DC doesn't really know what they're doing. You know, it may be a little bit of a time for the auteurs of the world to kind of bring back the, hey, we're gonna push the genre. We're gonna push what you see. We're gonna push the story forward. We're gonna push, you know, what is capable and what movies are right now. So yeah.
I mean, the last big
knows?
theater experience I can remember like this was Endgame.
Yeah, I would say that's
Yeah.
comparable. I think you can chart back. You know, you can go. Endgame was probably the one before that, or Infinity War. The Infinity War Endgame.
That duo.
1-2 handoff, and then it was probably the Force Awakens before that.
Sure.
And then then I think it's original Avatar.
Before that, Avengers, the first one.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
2012
Avengers.
That was a huge deal.
Yeah. I'll pay that. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
But
And then before that,
then,
probably-
then Avengers. I
Probably
think.
the first Avatar.
So Avatar. So there you have kind of 3D boom, beginning of the franchise, you know, return of the big franchise, culmination of the of modern franchisism, and then, you know, it remains to be seen what this movie will be, but I don't know. I don't see it being the $1 billion movie. You know, or the top highest grossing movie of all time. I think this movie is a little bit too comfortable with itself and not propelling enough with its story. It's somewhat of a smaller story overall, a more intimate story, I would say. But I think this might be the better movie overall.
It is the better movie on paper without the special effects. Like if these two movies were equivalent,
I'd agree.
I think this movie is maybe not objectively, but I think
it's close though. Yeah, I was like,
it's close. The first one's good.
Is a good movie.
Yeah, the first one's definitely good, but I think this one has the better story.
I think, and I think, and here we go. We're gonna let's talk about the.
Wait, are we in spoilers?
I don't even know. At this
no,
point.
We're not.
We're not. Should we go to spoilers?
Yeah, I would say let's do that so we can deep dive.
Are we all recommend? I mean, Blake and Tyler haven't even talked yet.
Sorry.
I think we're all recommend. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Cool. Do you guys want to say anything on spoiler before we go into it? I feel bad.
No, you're fine. I let my thoughts out.
I was gonna say I think you guys pretty much said most of everything, so
cool.
We can always talk just more about our feelings and stuff in spoilers.
All right, I know you love talking about your feelings, so if you want to hear more about Tyler's feelings, go ahead, keep listening. If you haven't seen Way of Water and don't want to hear about Tyler's feelings, you can check the episode description where you can get to the non-Tyler's feelings portion of the episode, and then we'll rank it upon the entropy list. Spoilers.
Oh yeah, we don't have a spoiler noise anymore.
Spoiler.
The top.
You want to go again?
Nah, we're good.
Spoilers. Shit goes down.
Voice changer.
Shit goes down.
There, do you feel better now?
I do.
Okay.
I got it out of my system.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about this. Let's dig into this a little bit. Let's see what's under the hood. All right.
Elaborate.
Do you have an issue with the writing of this movie? And do you think that Avatar suffers from a writing problem?
No, I don't think so. There's definitely some loopholes.
Sure.
Where, like you find yourself just sitting there and you're like, what the fuck?
Right.
Or like you're like, wait, how can that? Because that, and you just start putting things together, and so I don't think there's.
What things are you talking about? We don't have to be vague here because it's spoilers. What are you talking about specifically?
I really can't, like, they were like small things that had to do with like story, like plot lines that I just kind of like looked at myself when I was there. I can't honestly remember specific ones. But yeah, there were just some things where I was like, that doesn't really make sense. Or I was also like, I know this is pretty for like after the second one. Would they say how long it was? 14
years in between the two.
So it was very the humans took a massive jump in technology, which 14 years is a long time, but
sure,
they're like building buildings in, what'd you say, 6 days or something like that?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm just like, how the fuck did they get this far? And now they're basically like trying to terraform Pandora. And how, like, there's military clothes for avatars. Why?
Well, they had those in the first one.
Well, they were like explorer clothes. They weren't like military. These guys have fucking Avatar Oakleys.
They do have Avatar Oakleys. I love the Avatar Oakleys. In fact, I am all on board for the Avatar Oakleys.
So am I, honestly.
I want more Avatar Oakleys.
I think every Avatar should have Oakleys.
Yeah.
So it's just like, why is that? Like, and it's funny. I get it, and it's good. And it plays, to the plan. But no, I mean, to answer your question, long story short, I don't think it suffers from a writing issue. I think there's just, some things in here that are just kind of like, well, but I don't think
know. They have explorer clothes for Avatar. I don't know. It's not that much of a jump for me to go. They can have military clothes.
Yeah,
Sure. I guess I could go even more into it. Like they have military coverings for the dragons. Like they
Yeah, as they should.
so
It's a smart idea.
so yeah, it's a little funny, but yeah, no, I think from like a story standpoint, the first one is I think definitely still has a better story than this.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot, right? Because I think people, particularly like with the quote unquote discourse around Avatar that's been around, it's the movie, the sexy thing to say about it was that it didn't have any cultural impact, or people kind of forgot about it. It made $1 billion and then it disappeared, right? But it still made $1 billion, and it's still the number one movie of all time. Like it is. So there's something going on there, right? And it's the joke was it's Pocahontas. It's Dances with Wolves. It's Ferngully.
Yeah. We heard it all.
Things, yeah.
Right. It's not a new story.
Right. And I think all of this kind of builds into what James Cameron kind of does with his movies. And I think it also kind of, again, builds into kind of the storytelling that he's choosing to go with, which is the fact is it's a simple story, but it's a very different thing to tell a simple story well and tell a simple story not well. Like just because a story is simple is not an indicator of whether or not it is good. And it is oftentimes a lot harder to do a simple story than it is to do a convoluted story and just say, well, it's too complicated, you didn't get it, kind of thing, because simple stories don't allow you the room, like everything's on the table. The audience sees everything. There's nowhere to hide anything. I always kind of compare it, or like the metaphor that comes to my mind, and Tyler backed me up here, is that like when you're watching a race, the people that are going truly fast don't look like they're going very fast.
Correct.
Like they look like they're just going along, and if anything, they almost look slow. But then you look down at the time, and they're actually going like way faster than anyone else on the field. And I think that is a little bit of what we're seeing here too. Is that because the story is so streamlined, and because the characters are so distilled down into their pure essence of the storylines, it is just kind of like becomes these icons kind of thing. And then this is a story, or it is a world without cynicism in kind of comparison to the Marvel universe, which is always has a quip for you, or a backhanded compliment or anything like that. Then this is a world that completely and 100% earnestly believes in the story it's telling and what is going on, and is not at all obsessed with looking cool, and is just there to tell a story about the blue cat people. And I think I'm at a point in my life where I just applaud that for it at this point. And then just the fact that, again, James Cameron's going to be like, yeah, we're going to cast Sigourney Weaver as a 14-year-old girl.
Teenager?
Yeah,
that was really cool.
That-
though. I'll give you credit.
and you're just like, you know what? We're going to roll the dice on it. And you're just kind of like,
sure.
whoa.
That bothered the shit out of me.
It
I'm
doesn't
not gonna
work.
lie.
It almost works though. It
It
almost
almost
works.
works. No, it almost
it's
works.
the voice.
1,000%.
It's the voice that lets it down.
It's the voice and the fact that I know it's Sigourney Weaver acting as a 14-year-old child, and I can't get that out of my head.
I found it hilarious that like almost everyone in this thing, like I've never heard "bro" so many times in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's something I wanted to point out, where it's like that was the first time I've really heard that. And I don't even know, that character itself is so strange.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
I
do
don't
want
even know
to.
his name.
I want to talk about the fact that each one of his kids has a different accent. Like there's a British kid, there's an Islander kid, there's an American kid, and there's for some reason Sigourney Weaver, whatever nationality she is.
Oh my god! I just was looking at the IMDb. I recognize Dr. Garvin, the marine biologist.
Oh yeah, it's Jermaine Clements.
Jermaine Clements.
Yeah.
God, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'll leave it there though now because I've talked a while and tried to be smart about this, but you guys talk for a little bit. I've got 2 more points that I want to come back to at the end of this now. But yeah, go ahead. Someone else talk about Avatar 2.
The only issue I have with the writing, it is simple. It's just, I don't know. The his son, the kid character who keeps running off and shit. A lot, yeah. And Nathaniel walked away, but he's walking away a lot. It's just frustrating to me because good writing, your characters go through experiences, they have events that happen to them, and they learn from them. And later on in the movie, you see that they've learned from them. And this kid just is dumb as bricks. Apparently, he doesn't seem to understand that the things he's doing are getting him in trouble for a reason. Doesn't seem to understand that the things he's doing are bad. And it's just frustrating to watch him continue to make the same mistake multiple times throughout the movie, and then he bitches about how he's not, fitting in and stuff. It's just frustrating to see. That was one of the biggest things for me. It just felt like that was happening to move the plot forward. And he eventually seems like he learned his lesson, but it took him a while. But one of the opening shots of Pandora was him not taking orders. And
I was gonna say it didn't take him a while. It took him till his fucking brother died.
Yeah, basically, it took all of that. It took his brother dying for him to realize. It's just that was frustrating me. That was the biggest glaring thing that stuck out to me in terms of writing and stuff. But I go back to what Nathaniel was saying, and I don't mind streamlining the story and making it simple. I don't need a super big complex plot for a film like this. I think it's fine how it is. I'm not really going to see Avatar for a cool plot that's going to blow me away as far in terms of like what it's doing with its characters and whatnot. I'm going to go see Avatar for the cool ass shit I'm about to visually see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all you really care for, to be honest.
Exactly.
Subjectively, right? But that's what people are going to see this for.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine if the story isn't the deepest. Like that's okay. If it's like Nathaniel's saying, like, okay, I'm cool seeing one of these every couple years. I don't really need the big plot to go along with it. I just want to see it, So it's like if it's simple, straightforward, that's fine. I just think it shouldn't be dumb writing. It shouldn't be stuff that's like, oh, why is this way? Oh, because we just wanted it to be like I think James Cameron's smart enough to explain things and have reasons for what his characters are doing. That little kid pissed me the fuck off. I'll be honest. No, not Spider. Spider was fine. I think him as a character is kind of dumb, but Spider didn't bother me that much. It was more the his son we were talking about. You're gone. His son who just keeps fucking up, can't seem to learn from a single mistake. Like that's annoying to me.
It's the father insert character. It's the I'm just like you, Dad. I'm just like you.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's there to be the reflection of the father and the mirror to himself, and just the elder son
I
dying.
disagree with that. I don't. In the first one, we have it on now. He learns from his mistakes. Jake Sully.
Yeah, but he's an idiot.
Sure, but he learns.
So does the kid. I mean, he's an
No,
idiot to begin with.
he doesn't. No, it takes as Tyler said, it takes until his brother dies for him to finally realize he's fucking up. From the first scene in the movie when he disobeys the direct order to stay in the sky on the dragon.
Yeah, but the dad. I mean, Jake Sully's not a good dad either. That's
he's
that's the
shit
tension
dad.
of the movie, is that like
Whoa.
the son has to grow up and recognize that he's growing up, but the dad needs to recognize that
He's being a shit dad.
yeah, he's being a shit dad, and that the son's just doing what he himself is doing too.
That's fine. As Ellie attacks my microphone.
And we see that reflected with Spider and the Stephen Lang Avatar as well too, which I did not expect
I didn't
going
either.
into this
I
that
didn't
we were
either.
getting Stephen Lang again. But I was really happy when we
I
did.
was kind of fine. Yeah, I was fine with it.
Yeah, and then obviously we got the Maori, we got the New Zealand avatars as well too, or the New Zealand Navi
Yep.
as well.
Which we need to touch on the fact that like they biologically like look different and have different
Yeah, that
tails
was
and
cool.
arms,
That
and
was
they're
awesome,
pale blue.
for
That's
sure.
so awesome. That is the
And they
best
have like
thing
you
ever.
can see that they're absolutely Adam, and like, that's
Yeah.
like the first thing I noticed too.
Uh-huh.
Is like skin complexion. You can see like their characteristics
Yeah.
in terms of
That
like
is
their
genius.
tails being meant for swimming, like how they would swim in the water
Yep.
was much more similar to like aquatic animals would swim in the
And
water
and
compared to the tree avatars
Mhm.
where they would swim like how humans swim in the water. So that was really interesting to see, and
well,
I really like that attention to detail.
not even that. Like when you don't think about this in the first movie because the Omatakayan.
Sure, the
Uh,
forest avatar.
Yeah, they're the only ones that we see really. Besides, we see the clans, but we don't really. They all look the same in the
Right.
first one, for the most part. The other clans, we don't see that much of them, but they look the same for the most part. But in this one, like since you get to see the Emotakayan compared to the sea people, you realize, oh, well, they are kind of like evolved like monkeys. They have a slimmer tail.
Right.
A little bit more nimble and able to be more agile in the trees, whereas these guys, they evolved to swim. Like, that makes so much sense, and that's so cool.
I did see film Twitter referring to them as the light skin avatars.
Oh, Jesus.
as well, too.
Oh, my God.
Which I thought
The water avatars.
Yeah,
Oh, my
yeah.
That's
God.
funny.
That's funny. I don't know if I want to say that on pod, but that's hilarious.
Sorry. Should I? Sorry.
No,
should we,
we're fine.
Should we cut that for?
No, we're good. We're good.
No,
no,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
funny.
that's just funny.
we can.
Thing I do kind of want to point out is, and it was running through my head, is this just not being a new story and just kind of how it's like you're going to a new place to try to like adapt new things. And
Sure.
what stuck out to me, because it's a part 2 or a second film in a series, the first thing that jumped out to me is like how similar it is to Dune Part 2, or is how Dune Part 2 is similar to this, where like
Sure.
you now have Paul Atreides, right, who's going to the Freemen or the Sand People or the Desert People, whatever term you want to call it, right? And they have to like adopt their way of life and their culture before war comes on.
Right.
And like that's pretty much what happened in this film too. But that's kind of like the first thing I connected with. Like, yeah, they're trying to do a like master like water power, right? Or the way of the water, the title says.
Absolutely.
And then I
Blue
think
Boogaloo.
yeah, and then I think in Dune they mentioned how they already had like space power, they had water power and things of that nature, but the next thing they had to conquer was desert power. So those are kind of the two things that I've kind of made similar. And I think there'll be an awfully similar kind of ebbs and flow between this and the second Dune.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we went along that way for sure. And I think, it kind of sets himself up for a couple storylines moving forward. I will say this. I really like, with the introduction of the spider character, having a human POV or a human reference character to the size of the avatar.
Yeah.
Or to the Na'vi people in
They're huge.
basically every shot as well too, because that is one of my favorite things
Me too.
in the first one, is anytime you get like the 8-foot Na'vi in comparison with like
No, they're like
the
14 foot.
well, yeah, but like
Yeah, those
even
guys
just
they're huge.
like I can remember like going back in my mind and being there in the first Avatar film and watching it, and just the moment where you see like the big, I think it's a big tractor or something come in, and it's got the arrows in the wheels that are like 9 feet long or whatever.
Yep.
And just on a personal level, I will sit through if at the end of this James Cameron wants to just do like a like an hour long supercut of just the Zoe Saldana character like flipping over a helicopter and shooting a guy through the chest
Yeah.
with like a 7
Just a
foot
montage. Just give
like
me a montage
javelin. Yeah, there's
of
something
her
about
taking out every plane.
there's something about just like guys being shot with bows and arrows the size of like of a 6 foot javelin or something like
Yeah.
that just like makes my brain happy.
Yeah, it's so much dopamine, dude. So much.
So if
Cured my
we just
depression.
want to every few years just get a supercut of those. I'm totally fine with that as
Please.
well too.
In fact, don't even
But,
make Avatar 3.
I mean, there
Just
was 2 moments in this where like I think she stabs a guy, picks him up, and then shoots the arrow
Yep.
through the body.
Yeah.
That like me and as an audience member was just going, whoa.
Yeah.
And anytime that it gets that physical of a reaction out of me, I'm just like I'm in heaven.
She's
This
a
is-
badass in this
is-
one, dude.
This is movies. Movies are great. I'm enjoying myself so much, and yeah, that's what we're looking for. We're
James
looking for more
Cameron,
of the
dude.
fwa moments.
James Cameron's a fucking genius.
And when we haven't even talked about the whales in this. Whales are dope.
Yeah.
Whales are really cool.
Tucan.
Tulkan and
Tulkan.
and
Whales are dope.
I'm ready for the token Australian guy to come back in the next one with a weird blue avatar arm because his one got ripped off
Yeah.
by the cable as well too.
Me and my dad were like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
When that happened, it was great.
So that was cool. The way they kind of put get the whales involved or the what is it? Toucan?
Tulkan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool how like they're also like characters in this, and you can kind of see back history on that. And then also at that point, you end up rooting for the whale like, at the end, like when he's like going through on a rampage and like getting back at the humans.
Oh, that
You're
was
like,
awesome.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
And there's that that great just like where they hunt down the one whale. And you're just like, oh my god, this is horrifying.
Dude, that whole
Yeah,
sequence
for
was
sure.
like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be human.
Insane.
They really make you hate humans in this one. It's great. You just want to be. You just want to be.
It's almost
Navi.
like we suck.
Yeah, it's almost
Would
like
you,
we do horrible things.
I do really like the plot line where they're like, yeah, Earth's fucked. We're coming here.
Yeah,
And like that's now the
Well-
like kind of next step in the along the way kind of thing. I'm sorry, Tyler, you were starting to say something. You can go ahead as well too.
No, I was just gonna say, would you, given the choice, would you become an avatar?
Yes.
Of course.
Oh my god.
Your
Instantly.
human body and everything.
Yeah, I'd give it up. Dude, their way of life is so peaceful and simple, and like they probably could evolve to be cooler and better than humans, but like they don't need to, you know. They got
think
everything they
so? I
want with
mean,
Awa.
I don't know, man. So like, if we break this down, I don't know if we've seen enough of that world to know the bad things going on. Right? There's got to be.
You're not right.
So, for example,
Sure.
there's now different tribes or different races, right? Of those, I'm sure there's internal battles of those. You
Maybe.
know, so
Maybe.
I don't know.
I just think from a like how good I would be at baseball now.
Yeah.
Or or climbing rocks.
Yeah, sports there are probably fucking awesome. That's like the other side that we haven't seen yet. Or like, what
Yeah, and like
these are the normal people.
and I got like a cool dog that I can talk to now. You can basically talk to animals now.
I was about to
too.
say I could
That's
go
an
fly
underrated
a
talent
dragon.
too that we
Yeah.
can touch on.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'm down for chilling with the avatars as well too. I think it's like and this was a personal experience of being in the theater as well too. And I think it also just inspires some of it as well. There's like certain shots in this movie where you're just like, James Cameron's horny for fucking Navi.
He is.
Like
He really
he
is.
like there's just like a second where like at one point there's just an avatar or a Navi lady just walking along the street and it's just like it oogles like the camera like follows her ass cheeks
A little
like
bit.
it's like we're Zack Snyder and following Gal Gadot and
The real
in some
reason he
Justice
developed
League.
that CGI
something
camera
like that, yeah.
shows him the
And, like,
world in real time.
I'm sitting there in the theater and I just hear like 4 other like mid-20s dudes around me just start laughing and I'm just like, yeah, okay, I'm glad we're all on the same page
Yeah.
here. It's just that James Cameron's just
Horny for his own
horny old
aliens.
man. Yeah.
That's so funny.
But you know what? Power to him. If you can do it and make $1 billion, do what you want.
He back to that Earth thing. I saw an interview with him. He confirmed that if they make it to Avatar 4,
Yeah, they're coming back to
they're
Earth.
going to Earth.
Yeah.
You will see Earth at some point on either 4.
And you know
or
who's
5.
going to be there waiting for him?
Sigourney Weaver.
Vin Diesel.
Oh,
And
Jesus.
family.
That's the crossover I want. Turns out Han's still alive in this universe too.
Han is an avatar.
Oh, dude, I want Han as an avatar. Could you imagine how?
All right,
cool he'd
final
probably-
thoughts. Final thoughts. Let's get
We're not
this.
even running that long on time, man. I'm want to keep going. No, we're cool. We can move on here. Yeah, I don't know. There was a big point I want to talk about, but I don't know. We talked so much. I don't know if we covered it already. I think we did.
I think I've just been kind of running all over the place. I'm sorry. I haven't really.
Oh, it's
Well,
fine.
man,
This is
we
not
can
it. I hope
It's all
this is
good.
just
We've
coherent for the
touched on a few
listeners.
things, and yeah, I think overall it is a good movie. There's a few strange kind of paths they take, like we said with that human character, but it is cool because you always get a standard scale of how big the avatars are at all times. But his motives are like all over the place. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, he's with I'm always gonna say the name wrong. So he's with like the native people, right, from the world.
Sure.
And then other
Navi.
times it's like it seems like he's on the human side, and I don't think he knows what the fuck he's doing either. He's out there. He's vibes only.
I
If
think
vibes
that's
only was a person, it's that guy.
I think that's kind of his his character arc is like, yeah, okay,
sure.
well now I don't, my dad is dead, but there's this guy who has his memories and
Yeah.
his overall personality who's not my dad, and he's like saying it as well too, but now he's kind of there, and is he using me or what's going on and where do I fit in? I liked his thing of like, yeah, I can't be going in cryo. I was too young, dipshit. Like,
Yeah.
like, you asshole, you suck.
That was an interesting plot point, like throughout the whole movie. Like, is this his kid? Like, should he feel ownership over his kid, even though he's now a different race? Like,
well, and then like, I mean, they make it, and that was another thing that I know. Waz, who was watching it with us, was just like, wow, they made that a little heavy handed when he's like, yeah, sometimes you don't have the best dad in the world.
Yeah.
Sometimes your dad
when
sucks.
He's like leaning on the tube. Like, oh, come on, Spider.
Yeah, sometimes your dad's an asshole, or the
Yeah.
villain of the previous movie.
yeah, basically.
And we're like, okay, yes, thanks, James Cameron, we understand. We get it, but yeah, again, that kind of comes with the territory, I think there's those iconic stories you tell, and that you can only deviate so far from, the chosen path. Otherwise, there isn't a story.
Is Quaritch immortal now? Because I'm watching this and I'm like, if he dies at the end here, he's still the villain in 3. They put him in another avatar.
I don't think he dies in the end of it.
No, he
because
doesn't. He's
Spider
alive.
saves him.
He's
right?
alive.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking it doesn't matter if he's dead or not. They could just reanimate him in another avatar.
Genuinely, I love Stephen Lang, and I want him in more things. So,
what
like,
if, what
his
if
villain, for sure.
I wish they would have killed him off in this one, and they make 5 Avatar movies, and he dies in each one.
and he's just a different character.
Yeah, no, he's the same character,
Well, it's
just
he's-
reanimated. He dies in all 5 of them just because they can.
He's got this, and he's got Don't Breathe at this point as his two franchises. But I realized when I was watching this, and I think really Tyler might be the only other person that would have seen this movie. But has anyone ever seen the movie Tall Tales
No.
with
No.
Patrick
Not even ringing a
Swayze?
bell.
It's on Disney Plus, but it is about a kid that like somehow goes back in time and like meets all of the famous characters in history. And Patrick Swayze plays Pecos Bill, and there's Oliver Platt plays Paul Bunyan, and there's John Henry or whatever. But Stephen Lang plays the dad in it, and now that's all. And like, it's a movie that I watched a million times as a kid because I was obsessed with Pecos Bill as a cowboy and everything. And yeah, now that's all I can see when I see him in there now, and I want him to be in more things as well too, as a justice for my 5-year-old self. But yeah. Anyways, it's the weird thing is I don't care where it goes. I don't care what the next storyline is. I don't care how long I'll have to wait. I'm in line to see the next one. I'm ready.
Yeah, take
so
my money now.
clearly-
Can I reserve my seat?
Clearly,
Is there-
they hinted at a third.
Yeah, I think so
No.
for sure.
Oh, dude, they've shot 3 already.
I think 3's in the can, yeah.
3's in the can and half of 4. He said 3 and 4 have been done with principal photography, which doesn't mean a lot because 90% of this movie is CGI.
So at least
But-
stick together, okay?
So at least, yeah, their family is your fortress. The strength and it's also the weakness. I don't know what he said. There's a lot. I wish. I will say I'm a little disappointed that like they did the whole, oh, I speak Navi so well, it might as well be English to me
yeah.
now, and then like the English the rest of the movie. I miss them speaking Navi. I thought their language was
Viewership.
cool.
I kind
Oh,
of
100% it was easier that way. But
I kind of respect just the sack on camera
Yeah.
to be like, yeah, okay, so in the first one we sold it on the fact of like we've created this whole Navi language
Yeah.
and like, it's this, that, and the other. And in the second one he's just like, yeah, screw it.
we speak English. It's fine. I was just like, man, I miss their culture.
But I will say, like, and I think I've brought this up on pod now a couple times. I remember going to Disneyland in March or May or whatever, and them going to the Avatar world and being like, oh shit, yeah, this this place was awesome, and they did a great job with
Yeah.
like this world when they first created it, and like how they set it up and everything, and just it being that kind of step above standard Hollywood into that
so
that
much, dude.
rarefied air of like a you as an audience member and as a viewer just stepping into the world and being like, "Yep, okay, here I am. This is fully realized. I am 100% on board."
Yeah. I just want more of this, man. I want more of this world. I don't need like give me a TV show. You know, give
I
me-
don't think I need it.
Relax.
I don't think I need it. Yeah,
I would love it.
I'm with Blake on this one. I just need the movies.
I'm all in on Avatar. I'm not
No,
gonna lie.
I
I'm all
just
in here.
need the movies. I don't know, take the theme park too, but like I just
Yeah,
need the movies.
I think this movie hits so much better seeing it in cinema. Like, I don't want this in a TV show where I watch this on like HBO Max or Disney Plus. Like, I need to
And
be able to see this on
I
like
get it.
IMAX
It's fine.
3D, Dolby 3D, whatever it may be, right? I think that's like the draw for these types of films where
and like
I don't even know how many times I rewatched the first Avatar, to be completely honest with you. It can't be more than 3 times. And that's 15 years.
well, and to the point too, I think like it's one of those movies where you can pull threads if you want to. If you want to, you can go into this movie and pull threads and be like, well, why don't they do this, or why don't they do that, or why doesn't this make sense, or why doesn't that do? But that takes literally all the fun out of it, and it's just that stark example of just it being like, well, yeah, you can do that, but then you don't have it. You don't have a movie left afterwards, and so what's the point, kind of thing.
I don't know. I just want to see the other tribes. I want to see
Well, now
Earth. I want to see
now
all
we're
these.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we'll get there. I maybe we'll see where we're at the end of 4 or 5 movies, depending on how many they end up making, because the 5th one's not locked in yet. But we'll see where we're at there. Or maybe after 3 and 4, I'm just like, I'm good.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows?
Who
Maybe
knows
mine.
where we're at right now, though? I think this is awesome, dude. I love this. I love Pandora. I love the concept of the avatars and the Na'vi and stuff. I love the conflict between the humans coming to colonize and shit. Even though
Yeah.
it's
They.
like,
I think they've got good actors.
They do.
Through the whole thing. I don't think they.
I mean,
have,
Sigourney Weaver's playing a 14-year-old. How much better acting do you need?
Right, but I mean, like even like having Edie Falco in there, like you know,
Mhm.
as the new general or whatever. It's not a household name, but it's just a good actor.
Yeah, she
Or-
was great in this too.
or you know, who will be a role or anything. Is
I love their new mech suits that just make them the size of avatars.
Yeah, that was really interesting, but
That
they're
was
kind of
cool.
like scrawny.
Yeah,
too.
they're
That-
skinny as fuck.
That was kind of interesting, I thought.
Yeah,
And
it's more like a exo.
yeah, like an exoskeleton.
yeah, and like they're not even going for the unobtainium anymore. They're going for the whale brain.
Which I need to
Yeah.
I need to get this out there. Who discovered that the brain fluid from whales in the water on Pandora stops aging? Like, it's a cool concept. Like, oh, this thing stops aging. Of course, it's gonna be the most valuable thing in the universe. But like, who's like, hey, I'm gonna go kill a whale in Pandora, and hey, let's see if the brain fluid is working. Oh, hey, I'm gonna like smoke this brain fluid now or ingest it somehow. Oh, wait, I haven't aged a day, and like, who discovered that? James Cameron.
Giovanni
Any
Ribisi.
human ever.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like you literally stop aging. I think it's supposed to be more like skincare. Like
That's not the impression I got. He
No,
literally
you
goes.
think?
He literally goes. It stops aging. Like, stops it. Like, he emphasized the fact that it stops it. Doesn't slow it
think there's
down.
any- Immortality
I got
now?
That's
fact that
that's
he
the vibe I
basically-
got.
Okay.
Because I would have been cool with
Yeah.
like, oh, it slows it down to the point where like you get an extra 100 years, a few
Sure.
100 years. But he's like, he literally says it stops aging, and then he pauses and he goes like, it stops it. And I'm like, okay, I
well,
got
then
it.
he's like, it's 80 million an ounce, and I'm sorry if it really stopped aging, I think it'd be more expensive actually.
An ounce
I'm
is
saying
not that
that's-
much.
I'm just saying, you don't think it's a billy for you to stop aging?
Well, I think they have. I mean, eventually, there's only so many billies to go around on Earth. You know, there are
Nah.
only so many billionaires. Like, they gotta expand their market.
Inflation. We got avatars now.
All right, fine.
They said like the avatar things cost like a billy anyways. A billy.
You
Sorry.
All right, are we good? There's more to talk about here.
Let's put her on the list.
All right.
I'm actually interested to see where this one's gonna fall. I think.
So, real quick, sorry, before we
You're
get
good.
into it. Blake, you said you only saw the first one like 3 times.
Yes, and honestly, that may be pushing it.
Bro.
The first time was in theaters. I actually saw that for, when did that come out? 2009. So I
Yeah.
want to say I saw that
2009,
for
yeah.
my 15th birthday. I'm almost positive because that came out like a December, like around this time. And that's something like my mom took me and all my friends to. So I remember that. Then I want to say I rewatched it another time, maybe like late high school. So maybe 2012, 2013. And then I watched it once in college. That's it.
Bro, that's wild.
Dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
First
It's
one's
like
good.
3 hours long though, bro. It was just a
Dude,
lot of
Whatever.
Like, no shame, because I don't give a shit. I saw this movie probably like 8 times in theaters.
Oh wow. Yeah. I mean, it's a good movie. I'm not against it.
I want to see this again.
I just had a few friends that were like, we were obsessed. And
It's a
yeah,
spectacle, dude.
we like, I mean, when it first came out, it was
Yeah, especially the first one.
There's nothing like
incredible,
it.
bro.
I mean, I was 9, but I remember like everyone saw this. Every single person saw it.
Similar to Blake, I saw this, I think, for one of my birthdays. But I saw
Yeah.
the 2D version, and then it was one of the first ones, I think, 2 or 3 days later, my brother and I was being like 16 and having my driver's license for the first time. I was like, I'll take Noah. We'll go to the movies and we'll see it again, and we'll see the 3D version kind of thing. And it was truly just, and just kind of built too, where it was a bigger movie 3 weeks later than it was on its
Yeah,
opening
right.
day weekend. You know, that's one thing we didn't bring up. Where'd the Redbird go?
Oh, I don't know. Because
You
they
know?
still refer to him as Taruk Makto, or
Yeah. But
he doesn't have it
He doesn't
anymore.
have his Redbird.
I don't know.
Yeah, they he gave, so like he just, that's like a, you don't get to keep it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just he only comes, Tarak Makto is just
Tarak Makto.
somebody, it's a figure that comes
Just to
around
hang
when
out.
the
Gotcha.
people need help.
Gotcha.
And,
Gotcha.
so he was deemed a Tarak Makto when he basically got to ride.
See, this
pretty
is the
sure-
world building I need
This
in a
is the-
TV show.
this
Give me
is
the
the
Disney
lore.
Plus 6-episode series.
Yeah, like we do. I'm telling you, we went in deep on this like
Yeah,
way
man.
back in the day. Because like 2009 is when I graduated high school.
You know
so I
what?
had a lot of time on my hands.
give me an Avatar book or graphic novel or something. I just want the lore filled in a little bit, James Cameron.
Dude, there's a lot. There's a lot out there.
Is there?
Just going, yeah, dude.
Okay, I
just
gotta
on
go.
the
Okay,
internet.
then I need to take it upon myself to go do this. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go in.
Um,
I love this shit. This is fun.
But yeah, it's insane. It's like it's getting to the point. You know how like when like Star Wars first came out, people were like, "Oh, like Star Wars is like a religion."
Mhm.
Of course.
It's like very. There is a huge like cult following for this.
Well, that leads me to my final question. I see a lot of people on Twitter saying or questioning, like, is that the next Star Wars? Do you think this blows up to that level of IP where it's like on par with Star Wars? Or it's
I
like synonymous
think
with Star Wars?
I think
No.
no matter what we want, James Cameron's gonna do it.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think so anymore. I think Star Wars, where it was an actual pop culture change, where this is not quite to that level, I just don't think you will see that Star Wars thing again with film. It'll be the next medium. It'll be fucking TikTok or some shit like that. You know? Like, and I'm not kidding. Like, it will be something else. Like, you have kind of a mini one with this, with the 3D, and the fact that James Cameron has tied it in to the, like, each one to these kind of bumps of technology.
Sure.
But I think where Star Wars is like the watershed moment for films, where films went mainstream, you know, from a fad, a new thing in art to a genuine art form on a human scale. I don't think you'll get that again with film. It'll be the next art form that happens.
Can I throw this out there?
Sure.
What if it's VR?
Then it'll be the VR thing. It
Yeah.
won't be Avatar or whatever.
You think that's I think that's the next step.
I don't know what it'll be. I think there's a good argument that the cell phone has disrupted that and has pushed that to something else, and we'll move that to something else that we don't know. It could be fucking.
I think it's too hard to predict.
It could be AI art for all we know. But anyways,
True.
let's stop talking about this. Let's get this finished while we're still on the same day that we started this recording of this episode.
That sounds like a great idea. Welcome back, listeners who skipped over the spoiler segment of the podcast. We're going to go ahead and rank Avatar: The Way of Water upon the Entropy list. The Entropy list is our way we review things, rather than a 5-star out of 10, whatever it is. Throw up all the movies we review on a list and see how they compare to one another. Entropy list, if you want to see it, it's in the episode description, where you'll be taken to my Letterboxd. I'm trying to shorten that, and I don't know how to do it yet.
We'll figure it out.
We're workshopping it as we speak. Avatar: The Way of Water, Electric Boogaloo, Blue Blagoon. I'm trying to think of other like blue things.
Blue Blagoon.
Blue Blagoon.
Yeah, this is tough one, fellas. I'm looking at the entropy list trying to see where we can slide this thing. I mean, it's
What's the last spectacle we saw? That's what I'm gonna go with. Training Day? Is Training Day a spectacle?
Dune.
Fair enough. Dune. Okay.
yeah, it's because that's probably the last epic we have on. Right?
All right.
And
Yeah.
this
No.
is-
I'm with you. Is it
to
better
its
or worse?
core, it's an epic.
Actually, I like 21 right there. I'm not mad at that. Okay. So Dune.
Dune
I
or
was
the
ballparking
Batman.
20s in my head. 20s to 30s was the ballpark. in my
Dune,
head before I-
Batman. The easy one is 24.
It is the easy one.
Below Starship Troopers, above Judas.
Isn't
sure.
that the easy one?
That is the easy one.
That is the easy one. I don't know if I can put it above Back to the Future. That hurts.
Well, that would be
Oh,
below
okay.
Back to the Future.
That's what I'm saying. Is like I don't know if I can go above it. Like it might have
So
to
if you're
be
going
there.
above, what do you think?
Is it better than Starship
20,
Troopers?
21 or
No,
So you don't think it's better than Starship Troopers?
no.
Okay.
I just
I think I'm there with you. I think I'm 24. I think that's the easy answer for
I
me.
think that's the only answer.
If you do Avatar before you do Starship Troopers or like Back to the Future, where do you think this do you think the first one's pushed up really high then?
Oh, you mean like the original film?
Yeah.
Like if I
right?
was
If
asked
we do
to
Avatar
review
from
that?
2009, yeah. That'd be a
No,
good point.
because I genuinely think Avatar 2 is an improvement.
I agree.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Do we have to put it at 24? Like, is there any other option? Like, I feel like my hands are
I mean,
tied.
Yeah, you can put it anywhere you want.
Well, no
Yeah.
shit, but
it's tough.
in good
It's
conscience,
tough because Dunkirk's at 27. Dunkirk is really.
That's another spectacle. I would
That's one
grant you
that
that.
may be getting a little shysted here on the
still
list, not
don't
gonna
mind
lie to
putting
you.
this above Dunkirk.
Okay.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, and then there's Kill Bill, which is like, then like Training Day, The Northman.
But am I riding the high? That's my question. Am I on a Spider-Man
I mean,
No Way Home?
Possibly. That's what I'm saying. We
level,
rode the
right,
Spider-Man high like crazy, and that's something we'll come back down to calendar year later.
But I
It's like,
feel
don't know
more
about that.
comfortable rolling the
Way
dice
more comfortable
on
with
this
Spider-Man.
one
I agree.
than on the other one.
I agree with you.
I mean, Judas is there. I know for a fact I like this more than that movie.
Yeah. And I keep going back to the spectacle aspect and like exactly what you said.
I'm
which
at
is
24. I'm
having
locking that
Dune
in.
right
I'm
there.
locking
I'm
in
gonna-
24.
You're locked in.
I'm locked in. Y'all can do whatever you want. I'm locked in 24. I'm sitting there.
I'm gonna lock in at 19 actually.
Mm.
You
Okay.
would do that.
Yeah.
Above or below
I
Green
just- I
Knight?
think of how much I love the first one, and this one is still really, really good. And
Would
I
you
love this world. and
would
this
you go
universe.
higher with Avatar original flavor, Tyler?
Probably if I wasn't staring Lord of the Rings in the fucking face,
Yeah.
probably.
Okay, I see you there.
I see you.
Yeah, I think I'm tough. I think I'm sitting 22.
22. Below
Yeah.
Dune, above Back to
So
the
above
Future.
Back to the Future, above Starship Troopers,
Man,
below Dune.
Am I about to be the lowest one on this?
I can hear Waz. in the future just losing his goddamn
Waz, you
mind.
can write in. I don't care.
No, Adam, I'm gonna be with you. I'm gonna
Please.
be at 24 below Starship Troopers, above Judas and the Black Messiah, but below Back to the Future and Dune as well too, and Green Knight and Batman.
So you're at 24.
Yeah, I guess
Yep,
I
same.
guess like looking at all of this, Batman's really the one I question the most between
I don't.
the two of those.
I loved Batman.
But
You're picking this over Dune?
no, I'll pick Dune. I'll pick Dune above
Okay.
this at this point, and that's with the idea that there's another Dune coming in the future,
Right,
And there's
right.
3 more of these coming in the future as well too. And
Mhm.
truthfully, fucking don't bet it against James Cameron. When are we gonna learn,
Yeah.
folks?
I
I mean,
I
yeah,
told
that
everyone.
is true. That's the other
Like,
elephant in the room.
we-
right?
he-
He's shooting at a crazy clip right now.
he keeps proving himself,
For sure.
and you know what, I'll tell you what it is. I can't imagine what the 5th one is gonna look like, and
I
that
can't
is
either, right?
and that to me is just so exciting.
It is.
Like it genuinely makes me excited to see it. It makes me excited to think about. It makes me excited to consider the possibility that there will be a
Yeah.
movie within the next 5 to 10 years for me that makes me go, holy shit, that is something completely
Yeah,
new.
the
I
world
haven't
building
seen
on this is
that.
crazy.
Yeah. And that is
Definitely
just, that's so refreshing. That's such a
Mm.
good feeling to have.
I love you, James Cameron. Never change.
Yeah.
Keep wearing Fox Motorsports shirts and riding submarines into the future.
James Cameron may very well be 3 for 3 on sequels being better than their already really good predecessors. in the originals.
Ooh.
Wow.
That might be a conversation
You
for another
saying
day. But he
T2?
may be 3 for
T2, Aliens, and
yes,
Avatar
and then
2,
this.
Too Wet,
Yeah,
Too Blue.
He may be 3 for 3,
Yeah.
which is that's a crazy stat right there, fellas.
That is a crazy stat. That's one of those ESPN stats they just pull out of their ass.
for sure.
But then you're thinking about it, you're like, that is kind of crazy.
All right. We're so close.
It's tie break with Back to the Future. Do we want to put it above or below?
I'm ambivalent.
I vote below.
I can go below.
Blake, tie.
what's IMDb saying?
IMDb has Back to the Future 8.5, Way of Water
Hmm.
8.1.
Close. For nostalgia's sake, I mean, well, let's just go ahead and we'll do it above or below. Excuse me. Well, I'll help you guys out. I'll split your guys' favorite movies between Back to the Future and Starship Trooper. Those are 2 I'm not the highest on. I'm not
I
going to put
do
it
love
above
both of
those.
those. I do
I'll
love them.
split it. So I think that's fair. I'm a reasonable guy.
Okay. Ty, do you care?
No.
All right. Well, we're putting it below then. Back to the Future, then Avatar, Way of Water at 23, and then Starship Troopers 24.
Man, I feel like we're bringing closure to, I think, a very early news story too on the Back Row culture. Wasn't it like early on in the days that we were like, hey, Avatar 2 coming out December 2022, and I was like, don't care. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
tell me when it's out kind of thing.
Yeah, that was an
It's here.
earlier news story.
Yeah.
Was
and,
like, do we care anymore about Avatar? Like, do we think it's going to be good? Like, do we
And
think people are going to care anymore?
I genuinely think it has weirdly come out at the right time.
Oh, it's perfect.
It's like it has
It's so it's so weird how that happened.
It is we've gone through the 3D craze, and we've gone through the kind of franchise craze that was building up around the time of the original Avatar, and now we're on the other side of it, and it's very strange.
It just leapfrogged over
It
Marvel.
really did,
It just
yeah.
leapfrogged over it because when it came out, it was right when Marvel started
Right,
and
right.
was building excitement. And it now came out when people are burning out on Marvel.
Right.
It is perfect.
it very weirdly just
No
kind
Star Wars around to touch it.
right,
No
yeah.
Marvel to touch it. It has got the spotlight.
Well,
And-
and it is technically over at Disney as well too now.
yeah. Great. Love it. Can't wait for third
Anyways,
one, which is 2 years away. James Cameron has said it's 2 years away.
it's in the can. Let's do it.
It's in the Cameron. Damn it. I tried. Next week's review.
If I have to wait another 13 years, I actually genuinely will be upset. So
And I genuinely will be there day one. That doesn't matter. Next week's review, as we said before, The Fabelmans, in theaters now, not streaming anywhere, I don't believe. So go see it in theaters. It's good. You'll like it.
Spielberg.
Bagelman. 5-star review. Do we want to do that?
Nope. Let's go home.
Yeah, I'm tired. Email. We don't have any emails, but if you want to write us an email, as I'm sure Brandon Wozni does, you can send us an email to backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. Follow the show, share it with a friend, a family member, a member of the Blue Boogaloo. I don't know.
Blue Christmas?
A blue Christmas.
Without you.
I don't have the voice changer on.
The ball have a blue Christmas.
There we go.
We're overusing that. I think it's a bit overkill, but whatever.
It's tempting. I told you.
It is.
It's a dangerous thing.
Follow the show on Twitter at Banter Row, on Instagram at Back Row Banter Pod, and on YouTube. We're just Back Row Banter. BlakeHolder, where can the people find you at, my man?
Letterboxd, BlakeHolder. I'll be on there giving my thoughts on certain movies, ranking them out of 5 stars. And I tried to finish
Bless
that
you.
before I sneezed, but I didn't. So that's all I got, though. Popcorn time.
Twitch.tv/ultrabajo87 and Instagram, Letterboxd, and Twitter, all Tyler Vidalis. Nathaniel?
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at Ennis Gingrich. You can find me on Instagram at NathanielG92. Sandpiper Tapes is my other podcast. Adam, get us on out of here.
Find me on Twitter at Aish24, on Letterboxd at Aish, and on Twitch at twitch.tv/Aish. That's AYYSH. Thank you all for joining us for our review of Avatar, The Way of Water. Join us next week for our review of The Fabelmans. We'll be RB.
Be excellent to each other, everyone, and we will BRB.
Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate you. And just be good to one another, and have a Merry Christmas, because we won't see you until after that. And we appreciate you. And yeah, safe travels, all that good stuff, and we'll BRB.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for the support, as always. Be able to continue this podcast if it was. So happy holidays to everyone. BRP.
I'm America. Ready for another lesson.
So here's a news flash for you while we're recording. Bit of sizzle on the start. Unobtainium's a real thing.
Really?
What is?
Unobtainium, the filler deal that they use in the first Avatar for the rock that they're mining. They call it unobtainium, and everyone's always like, "Oh, unobtainium, it's so dumb." Yeah, such a stupid name, or it's whatever. Apparently, it's a real thing. It's just a placeholder name that scientists use for something before they actually have a real name for it yet.
Avatar 1 is saved. Now it's the greatest movie ever. No one objects.
Thank you.
You solved the riddle.
Well, that's what I'm here for,
Yeah. That's what he learned in Masters there in grad school.
How to defend all James Cameron movies.
Yeah. How to be the number one James Cameron.
That's a course
fan.
in itself.
Yep.